You'd be surprised at the number of businesses that fail within the first 5 years. Actually, statistics put it at 50% of the businesses will collapse within the first 3 years. And after year 5, another 25% is knocked off. So what happens? Why is it that only 2 out of 10 businesses that go beyond year 5? In this video, we look at strategic planning, strategy, and the survival of your business. Hello there, this is Stan from Level Up, a channel for entrepreneurs like yourself that help you, equips you, empowers you with tools, strategies, and tips that will enable you to start, grow, and scale your business. In this channel, we do a lot of strategy videos just like this one, so if you are new here, consider subscribing. Now, one of the most important things that needs to come to mind early for you as a business person is strategy and strategic planning. Now, many entrepreneurs will involve themselves in some kind of planning. That is good. That is a good place to start. But for your plan to be more solid, for your plan to be more, as it were, effective, then it must be strategic. What do I mean? It has to have elements that have considered the environment in order for your business to have surgical precision in delivering your key value proposition. Now, businesses like yours are environment dependent and are environment serving. What do I mean? They're dependent on their environment to get employees. They're dependent on the environment to get raw materials and so on. But also, they are dependent on the environment for the market, because you do not exist in a vacuum. Businesses exist within a context. That is a very key idea for you to grasp. Now, it is strategy that connects your business to the market. Strategy then becomes a mitigant between the internal business environment and the external business environment. The internal business environment is all those things that you have control of, from who you employ, who is in your team, to what is the product features, to how are you intending to brand your company, to where your office will be, and so on and so forth. The external environment are all those factors that affect your business, but you have no control of. That is, for example, the legislative environment, that is the policy environment, that is the taxman environment, and so on and so forth. So it is strategy that properly positions your business in its context. So strategy is very central to the success of any business. Buzzword: competitive advantage. So if you want to sound very sophisticated as an entrepreneur, you need to begin to deeply understand what then competitive advantage is. Now, if a business is strategic, or a business that is following a strategic plan, competitive advantage is a very central, integral idea to the whole planning process. What is competitive advantage? Competitive advantage is why should customers choose you. In sales, you call it your unique value proposition. But from a position of strategy, you're talking about competitive advantage. Now, the idea is businesses that achieve sustained competitive advantage are those businesses that last longer than 5 years. Because achieving sustained competitive advantage means that you are above, head and shoulder above your competition, and you are attracting customers year in, year out. You are actually, in effect, attracting a growing number of customers year in, year out. So the first thing you have to think about when it comes to strategic planning is, how does my business achieve sustained competitive advantage? Very important. Now, there are generic strategies that help businesses achieve competitive advantage that is sustained. The word sustained here is very important because I talk about a competitive advantage that is present for long. So there are two generic ways that you can achieve competitive advantage. One, material cost advantage. Find a way to have very strong procurement policies such that your inputs are bought at market cost or below market cost. Like that, you're already ahead of the competition. A second way is to heavily invest in your brand such that by the time the competitors begin coming into your niche, your brand is so strong that the choice to the customers is a no-brainer. So that's the first aspect of strategic planning that I want you to keep in mind. The second aspect is this. You have to decide, how do you want to compete strategically? Do you want to compete on price, or do you want to compete on uniqueness? If you're going to compete on price, is what strategists have called red ocean strategy. This is where you have many sellers and all of them are price takers. The only return that they can get from that market is the risk-adjusted market return. Basically, what I'm saying is you're going to get very little margin for your product. A better idea is to decide to compete on the blue ocean. And in the blue ocean, we are competing on uniqueness. You're not competing on price. The beautiful thing about the blue ocean is this: you are able to charge anything you want. You now decide to compete on other areas of competition other than price. You can go crazy and decide to compete both on price and on uniqueness, and you're on your way laughing all the way to the bank. So that is about the second aspect I want you to think about when you're doing your strategic plan. The third and almost final idea that you must consider as a business person, or you must consider early as a startup entrepreneur, is strategic analysis. It is very important for you to literally consider what are the strengths within your organization, what are the strengths within your business, what are the strengths among the founders. When those strengths are marked with opportunities that you have analyzed in the market, then that already causes strategic advancement. Strategic advancement is when you're able to take a strength that is abundant in your team and you match it with an opportunity that is in the market. And this moves your company forward. It's also important to consider and analyze what are some of your weaknesses. Mitigation of those weaknesses early will increase your chances of survival. The last kind of analysis I want you to think about also what are the threats. Threats are those negative things in the environment, the external environment, that has the ability to affect your business negatively. What do you do to them? You watch those threats and find ways to adapt, overcome, and conquer. So the summary then, as I've ably shown you, is one, define your competitive advantage, and also define how are you going to sustain that competitive advantage. The second thing is decide how you want to compete. Are you competing on price, or are you competing on uniqueness, or do you want to compete on both? Finally, conduct a strategic analysis. Of course, you should start with conducting a strategic analysis and see what are our internal strengths and which opportunities are we matching our strengths to. What are our weaknesses and how are we mitigating those weaknesses, and what are some of the threats that we face in our market, and how are we watching those threats so that we're able to adapt, overcome, and conquer those particular threats. Now, in doing those three things, what will begin to happen is you will notice that first you have a very strong forward projection. Your chances of failure will greatly reduce, and you will see your business going beyond the 5-year mark to become one of the successes of your nation and of your community. And that, my friends, is how you link strategy and planning. It's not just planning, it is strategic planning. And you just got leveled up.